My name is Nick, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about animal testing. Imagine yourself strapped down by the arms, and you're in a strange room, and you have no idea why you're there. Large figures stare down at you as they inject you or feed you with substances and cosmetics. These cosmetics may potentially harm you, or could even kill you. This is the harsh reality for millions of animals who are subjected to the testing of drugs and cosmetics each year for the purpose of human consumption. I'm here today to tell you why animal testing is not only cruel and unjust, but also unnecessary and inadequate. Skeptics will say that testing on animals helps save human lives by weeding out harmful drugs before they reach humans. But I will show you how harmful drugs may still enter into the market due to genetic differences between animals and humans. You may be asking yourself, if not animals, then who? I'll be showing you some safe and much more effective alternatives to animal testing, such as human cell cultures or computer models. Lastly, I'll show you, why should we care about animals? After all, animals do not feel the amount of pain or suffering that a human would, given the same harmful effects. I'll show you today that, contrary to that, animals often get the same amount of pain, or have the same amount of pain receptors, or can feel pain just as well as many humans. According to the USDA, upward of 12.8 million animals were killed in the last 8 years alone during animal testing. And I'd first like to tell you how many of these animals died without substantial medical evidence. I'd first like to explain why animal testing can actually bear false results that can prove to be harmful to people. According to the Wellcome Trust Sanger Institute, primates are closest animal relatives. While they're 99% similar genetically, they still hold significant differences which can drastically skew medical research. One of the most significant differences is the lack of genes that fight infection. Many products tested on primates would show drastically differing results than that of product tested on a human sample. The reason being was that many primates are getting infected by things that we don't see in humans, and the reason is that the primates can't adequately fight that infection. So what we find is that oftentimes, since they're genetically different, that we can't really find the similarity between certain products with humans as well as primates, because just because a primate may get sick, it doesn't necessarily mean that a human will get sick, and vice versa. According to the Science Daily, scientists have recently found the difference in a single cell can completely change the way parasites evolve in a host. So what that shows is that while a parasite may be infected in a human, it doesn't necessarily mean that, say, in a mice or a primate, that parasite will evolve in the same host, or evolve the same way because it's in a different host. While you may or may not be sold on the idea that humans and animals are significantly different genetically, I would secondly like to show you how there exist more effective alternatives to animal testing. According to PETA, cell culture is one way that scientists have been able to test products' effects on the cell does not require the holding of animals against their will. Skin irritation and corrosion has proved to be successfully tested on non-animal and non-human skin models, such as Epiderm and EpiSkin. These models are created from human cells that are cultured and give much more accurate results than those derived from a living animal, because these skin cultures are more closely related to human skin than an animal skin. Even computer simulation has been proved to be drastically effective in the testing effects of drugs and cosmetics on the human body. What happens is the properties of certain drugs or cosmetics are basically entered into a computer, and test to run essentially tells you if the combination of those substances can actually be harmful to a person. Other alternatives are present, including but not limited to pyrogenes, skin patch tests, and mimic tests, which tests the effects on the immune system of a certain drug or cosmetic. With so many alternatives to animal testing, it's wonder why we continue to subject helpless animals to such cruelties. Lastly, many of you may be thinking, why should we care so much about the rights of animals? After all, animals do not suffer much as humans do. They do not feel the same pain. According to Peter Singer, author of Animal Liberation, animals show many of the exact same signs of pain that humans do, which indicates animals are reacting similarly to pain. The behavioral signs include writhing, facial contortions, moaning, yelping, or other forms of calling, and also attempts to relieve themselves from the source of pain. So just as a human will touch a hot stove and burn itself, and remember not to touch a hot stove, animals do the same thing. This shows that animals do have the same reaction to pain, and therefore they do feel pain, much like we do. Also, animals such close as or animals close to mammals, such as birds or close to humans, other mammals that are close to humans, have a similar nervous system, which shows you that many animals actually feel pain the same way that humans would. I hope that through these arguments I've shown you that not only is animal testing cruel, but it's actually unnecessary and inadequate. Thank you.
Well, your proposition has 4 parts, and 2 of them are claims of value, so that's a little bit problematic. You do have a preview of what the secondary claims are going to be, and sometimes you're signposting, but I'm not sure that you're always signposting the claims that you set up at the beginning of the presentation, so that was a little bit confusing. You've got a piece of factual data about the number of animals that are used. That seems like a relatively low estimate. I'm not sure that you've got the best information on that particular one. You know, the number of animals over the last 12 years seems like it's relatively small given the data that you've got, or the last 8 years. You know, that seems a little bit underwhelming. Some of the other information comes from PETA, which is, I think you can find a better source that's less likely to provoke problems. You know, PETA has a nasty reputation. I'm also a little bit suspicious of the author, Peter Singer. I don't know, but the title of the book, Animal Liberation, is strongly connected to some pretty radical groups, and so there are probably stronger places that you go for information that will give us more objective information that will be useful in convincing us. You want to try to avoid associating your data with sources that might be perceived as being questionable by your audience. The comparison of primates and the lack of some particular genes, I thought you had a couple of good illustrations there, but I didn't get any source citation on that. There's a lot of information, for instance, about the skin and computer tests. That sounds like it's coming from PETA. None of it is statistical in nature. None of it shows that it could replace the use of animals, and I think that that's really the biggest argument that you need to develop. You need to show that these alternatives could do as efficient a job or a more efficient job than the use of animal research. And then also you've got to get rid of the issue of the cruelty and the injustice of this. Those are value claims. They have a place in an argument, but not this particular argument because we're supposed to be focusing on factual issues.